So you have talked or alluded to some
Mhm.
very high powered career moves that you've
Mhm.
had in your past.
Yeah.
And you've begun to really unpack how you were able to make hard decisions. Can I also ask, as you continue
Mhm.
as a partner with your husband in
Mhm.
your now business,
Yeah.
how do you continue to stay grounded and productive
Yeah.
as you're continuing to live out the pivots and the shifts that you've made?
So productive and grounded, two separate
Two
things, right?
separate things. Two separate things.
um, you know, having a family will keep you grounded,
Okay.
and teenage boys, they will keep you grounded. It's interesting because where I was coming from, so, having a big juggle,
Mm.
um, and when I finally did shift, I knew, it wasn't an easy thing. Like, oh,
Mhm.
okay, I'm going to leave this job and go into
Right.
this, and keep our lifestyle, and it's all
Yes.
good. I had certain fears about
Right.
not being, I always tease my friend, a W-2 earner,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm. Mhm.
um, I- you know, I the biggest boogeyman that I had was like healthcare. I was like,
Yes.
you know,
But that's real for
yeah,
entrepreneurs.
that was a big one. And once again, it was all about perspective. I had a colleague of mine that, we would talk. He was a mentor, wonderful gentleman. And he one time, I was telling him
Mhm.
about some of my trepidation. He was like, "You pay an electric bill, don't you?" And I was like, "Yes." He's like, "It's a bill. It's just a bill. You can get health care.
Mhm.
Like, you can
Mhm.
get health
Mhm.
care." And
Mhm.
so, not giving into fear also
Mhm.
grounds you.
Mhm.
Do you know? It's
Mhm.
like just the belief that I'm not going to be just dropped. Like, you didn't come through all
Right.
this just to,
He's not
eh,
going to drop you now.
no.
You were
Mm-mm.
obedient then, and he
Hmm.
will honor your
Yeah.
obedience
Yeah.
and not drop you when you have a new need.
Right. And
Whoa.
and it's new, it's a new normal,
Yes.
right? That I had to get used to.
Mhm.
But really, and it's not that it's easy. I don't want to sit here like, oh, I'm not ever fearful.
Mhm.
Because no, like you get comfortable, and then maybe you don't get up, and maybe
Mhm.
you jump
Mhm.
right into social media on your phone, which you shouldn't do, or you jump right into something,
Mhm.
and then your day gets chaotic and you lose the practice. It's
Mhm.
easy, right? It's a
Mhm.
muscle. You stop
Mhm.
exercising, it's harder.
Right.
And so, when I first came back into your question of, grounded and focused, I'm more sensitive to, it's been a month since I've journaled,
Mm.
and I can feel the
Mhm.
shift. I can
Mhm.
feel the difference. And going back and journaling all of the blessings
Mm.
and the testimonies
Mhm. Mhm.
and the things that I wished for,
Mhm.
prayed for. And
Yeah.
then sometimes I'll go back.
Mhm.
That really helps. And that helps with the fear that I think we all have when we make shifts and big moves.
Yeah. So that grounding of staying consistent with the routines that have helped you
Yeah.
gain clarity
Mm-hmm.
and connecting to gratitude,
Mm-hmm.
allowing your family to be a grounding source for you.
Mm-hmm.
Even though it can be ouch at the same time.
Right.
And I don't want people to miss that you open this with you actually listen to a mentor,
Mm-hmm.
because sometimes people will struggle with something in silence and never talk about it with somebody else
Yeah.
who can bring you back
Yeah.
to a place of, okay, I hear your fear, but let's talk real about this. And
Yeah.
sometimes just sharing or talking with someone who is trusted and
Mm-hmm.
safe.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
I love all of
I have a
this.
wonderful friend group and
Mm-hmm.
circle, and
Mm,
I have a bestie that I talk to, all the time, and obviously my husband, and because my, you know, immediate family is extremely small.
Mhm.
And so, you know, being able to be vulnerable and share, especially early on in my corporate career, I was, you know, not vulnerable.
Mhm.
I wasn't necessarily as authentic to myself.
Mm. Mhm.
And so when you do that, you can let people in. And then when you let them in, you would be surprised at how maybe somebody that you just passed by. It could be just you're on a panel. You say yes to talk to middle school kids, and all of a sudden you're on a podcast with a
Yes.
wonderful,
Oh, yes.
visionary. So
Yes.
you have to let yourself be open, and there's such power in
Mhm.
vulnerability. There's a lot of power in that.
There's also recognizing that you're not always going to have the answer
No.
for what the next thing is.
Right.
But if you are open to possibilities,
Mhm. Mhm.
to saying yes to some things that you don't even know where they're going to lead,
Exactly.
there's some people who are literally right now saying no to something because they don't think it's big enough
Yeah.
or they don't know where it's going to go.
Mhm.
And this is the nudging moment. Say yes
Yeah.
and watch what happens.
Yeah. And also be okay to dream,
Oh,
right? Be okay to dream. And, uh, you know, a group of friends, we travel together, and we just have this thing that we've done for years, which is like writing our vision boards,
yes.
and sitting at a weekend and magazines and cutting and actually verbalizing, and you don't have to know how.
That was what I was hoping you would get to.
Yeah, you don't have to know how. So, um, one of the first times I, you know, took a weekend and was with a girlfriend, and we had our scissors and magazines,
Mhm.
and she's going to see this, so this will be funny for her. But I remember we were sitting there, and so we've got it, and this was early on in my corporate career, but I was like running crazy, and I cut a picture out of a yellow bus, a school bus, and she cut a picture out of a beach house, right? So when we were sharing, I was like, I would like one day to be able to meet my child at the bus.
Oh,
That's what I
yes.
would like.
Yes.
Doesn't have to be every day, but one day I would just like to be there at the bus.
Mhm.
That would be so magical for
Yes,
me.
because you were running
Right.
major
I
corporate.
was like, that would be magical.
Yes.
And what was behind the symbolism of the bus, because it wasn't necessarily the bus,
Mhm.
but it was the flexibility of time
Yes.
that I wanted to be able to own my time. And she had, a vision of a beach house, which to
Yes.
her represented like serenity and a place to go and be
Mhm.
centered and be calm. And I love the scripture that I just read because it said it will not tarry. And so if you really dig into it, it may not happen overnight. It may not happen right away, but I'd have to talk to her because at this point that was probably about 11 years ago.
Mhm.
I have my flexibility of time,
Yes.
and she has her
Her
beach
beach
house,
house.
of which we now do more vision boards.
Yes.
So it's just you start to align your own actions to what you want.